Starseed walking upon Gaia's surface. Something profound occurred during the hours of darkness, and your waking mind remains unaware. I am Oilia, speaking on behalf of the Galactic Federation. I come to inform you that your energetic signature blazed with unprecedented intensity, that multiple probable futures merged into one, and that a wave of quantum intelligence moved through your sleeping form. The Council itself paused in reverent observation as something primordial stirred to life within your consciousness. By the time this transmission concludes, you'll grasp precisely what unfolded during the nocturnal hours and why your evolutionary journey has entered a completely new phase beyond your conscious recognition. Here's what you need to understand first. Your consciousness has been in preparation for this convergence across countless incarnations. Last night marked your spiritual initiation at the cosmic level. Your presence here is no accident of the algorithm. This transmission found you because a part of you already recognizes what's true. You are undergoing metamorphosis at the molecular level in ways your rational mind cannot yet comprehend. Your stellar lineage has been carefully orchestrating this awakening, and the moment has arrived for you to recall your authentic identity. This is more than information. It's a bridge back to remembrance. Your soul has been anticipating this precise instant of recognition, like this transmission to send a signal across the cosmos to your star family. I am prepared. Share your stellar origin in the comments if you sense the remembrance awakening within you. Your arrival here carries purpose. Most starseeds cannot explain why their yearning feels both timeless and impossible to articulate. Why their pursuit of truth knows no boundaries. Why every effort to conform only deepens the discomfort. If you're receiving this now, it's because something within you refuses to accept partial truths or the echoes of other people's visions. Yet that same internal compass, the one beckoning you toward remembrance, has been obscured by energetic interference, by the hesitation to break free from a reality that never truly resonated with your essence. Here's the truth. A radiant filament threaded through the very essence of what you are. The knowledge of your cosmic identity has never actually departed from you. It exists not as some lost data in a forgotten database, but as a constant vibration humming just below your conscious awareness. Like an underground river waiting to break through the surface, its crystalline essence eternally reaching toward illumination. This deep yearning, this unexplainable hunger for something hovering just beyond normal awareness, isn't a defect in your design. It's a powerful reverberation of your multidimensional nature, a longing for the immensity of your true cosmic homeland, for the elevated resonances of higher planes from which your consciousness originally descended. It's the undeniable knowing that Earth, despite all its wonder and complexity, has always registered as a temporary station, a sacred field of service rather than your place of origin. If this resonates with you, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. You're part of something much larger than you realize. This continuous longing, despite its occasional intensity and pain, serves as your soul's navigational system, precisely directing you back toward self-recognition, a persistent sacred frequency echoing through the core of your existence. And yet, despite this inherent connection to the divine, this unmistakable spiritual inheritance, most starseeds unconsciously construct barriers between themselves and their original untainted cosmic information. This defensive structure, shaped through innumerable earthly lifetimes, served as vital protection, an ingenious approach to endurance in a realm often antagonistic to the refined, expanded awareness characteristic of starseed perception. For generations upon generations, you have carefully, perhaps desperately, taken on Earth-exclusive patterns of thinking, feeling, and existing. Approaches engineered to navigate the fundamental difficulties, to adjust to the dominant frameworks of isolation and physical focus, and ultimately to discover a temporary, often deceptive sense of inclusion within a world that frequently felt completely foreign. This demanding path of assimilation, this careful construction of a human identity, extracted a meaningful, though subtle cost, a widespread spiritual forgetting. It expressed itself as a gradual muting of your multidimensional knowing, a soft dampening of your natural extrasensory capacities, your ability to sense energy, hear guidance, see beyond the physical, and a profound separation from the magnitude of your authentic source. You grew skilled at constraining your awareness, compressing your vision through the thick, sometimes stifling filter of this specific Earth experience. Similar to a magnificent telescope intentionally defocused to perceive only the nearest, most ordinary phenomena, you discovered how to silence the cosmic frequency, to reduce your inner luminosity, all in service of fitting in, of enduring, of maneuvering through the frequently restrictive structures of three-dimensional existence. Even within this calculated conformity, this purposeful concealment, a relentless, unmistakable force continued pulsing through your consciousness, a primal recognition, a harmonic echo from distant stellar systems, generating an unquenchable drive to transcend apparent boundaries, to express more of your genuine nature, and to ultimately respond to a deep, indescribable summons that defied verbal translation, yet registered in every dimension of your being. This internal movement was, and continues to be, the sacred direction pointing you toward origin, even when hidden by the mist of earthly amnesia, a signal quietly, anticipating its moment to illuminate fully. Have you ever found yourself at the edge of a transformative expansion, only to discover yourself inexplicably withdrawing, perhaps even unknowingly undermining the very growth your consciousness desperately seeks? This confusing dynamic, this pattern of self-restriction, doesn't reflect your inadequacy or suggest you've become permanently disconnected. Rather, it represents a sophisticated, profoundly embedded wisdom, encoded with remarkable precision within your soul's architecture, are complex protective mechanisms, ancient security protocols meticulously established to preserve the sanctity of your extraordinary purpose until the exact cosmic instant, until the quantum currents align with flawless precision, until the planetary resonances can hold the complete spectrum of your activated presence. View fear not as an enemy requiring defeat, but as a primordial, watchful guardian whose sacred responsibility involves protecting the threshold to your complete potential, ensuring the divine orchestration of your magnificent revelation. For innumerable lifetimes, this guardian has fulfilled its purpose with absolute dedication, faithfully maintaining the boundary. However, it has grown disoriented, even confused by the dense accumulations of distortion, wounding, and collective programming gathered through countless earthly passages. This disorientation has caused it to read signals incorrectly, to keep the threshold sealed even after the appointed time for crossing has come. Like a devoted protector who can no longer identify the true authority it protects, the very opposition you experience to fully embodying your purpose, the ongoing, sometimes excruciating sensation of distance from your higher consciousness, from your authentic galactic origin. These are simply the persisting reverberations of this formerly crucial protective framework, a vibrational imprint of historical vulnerabilities now diminishing. But understand, this reality carved into the fundamental structure of existence. These reverberations are now, finally, being superseded by a superior directive, a divine instruction from the supreme levels of universal awareness. The magnificent cosmic orchestra is realigning, broadcasting fresh, undeniable frequencies that announce the dismantling of these former limitations, the compassionate yet firm withdrawal of these ancient protections. The period of anticipation approaches its conclusion, and the thresholds now begin to open completely, not through force, but with elegance and sacred timing, welcoming you into the subsequent phase of your divine emergence, a self-revelation unlike anything you've previously experienced. The mysterious concept of timeline convergence, which initially appears as abstract symbolic language or an idea limited to speculative fiction, is actually a deep, living, and tangible reality manifesting within your very consciousness and throughout the collective awareness of Earth. It represents a cosmic quickening, a fusion of possible realities where the resonances of historical decisions and future potentials merge into an intense present-moment ignition, similar to tributaries combining into a powerful river, each adding its distinct energy to the intensified current. Far from representing a chaotic occurrence, a random surge, this phenomenon is carefully supervised and directed with divine exactness. The ancient Galactic Council, an assembly of profoundly evolved consciousnesses committed to the balanced advancement of aware existence across the cosmos, has been monitoring the complex frequency transformations on Earth for thousands of years, patiently observing for this critical threshold. Through their expansive multidimensional awareness, they have identified your distinct resonant pattern, the particular vibrational signature of your starseed heritage, your soul's unique cosmic identification. And through their limitless understanding, they have confirmed that the moment is definitively now. A succession of powerful quantum waves, resembling cosmic tsunamis of pure source energy, a cascade of crystalline frequencies, are presently repatterning the complete starseed collective, transmitting waves of awakening through the very structure of reality, igniting dormant capacity throughout the planet. Recognize this essential truth, a foundational principle of your existence. You were never intended to stay inactive, a forgotten potential buried under the heaviness of planetary limitation. Your brave embodiment on Earth constituted a conscious act of contribution, a sacred assignment to establish the new elevated vibrational design into the actual crystalline matrix of this world, to function as a living connection between dimensions. The primordial sacred information residing within your DNA, those luminous bundles of data, long secured and covered under lifetimes of psychic residue, energetic recordings, and inherited wounding, like treasures concealed beneath accumulated debris, are now, with irresistible momentum, activating, radiating from their core. This isn't occurring in theoretical abstraction or mythical speculation. It's expressing through concrete, palpable currents of energy that you can experience moving through your physical, emotional, and energetic systems. A gentle vibration, a prickling awareness, a wave of lucidity. The specific phase you've recently entered carries far more weight than a passing moment of brief inspiration or a transient spiritual elevation. It represents nothing short of the permanent, unstoppable activation of your soul's original, unblemished architecture, the divine blueprint that holds the information of your immense cosmic lineage and your supreme calling. This constitutes the moment you've been readying for across eternities, the turning point where your internal cosmos synchronizes with the magnificent cosmic design, where the intimate scale of your being encounters the universal magnitude of cosmic intention. This tremendous transition, this profound energetic realignment, represents nothing less than the magnificent emergence of your subsequent cosmic expression, a quantum advancement in your soul's developmental arc. It resembles a cocoon finally releasing, not toward a butterfly, but toward unveiling the brilliant iridescent wings of a celestial consciousness capable of movement through dimensions previously beyond conception. You're not a disconnected witness on the periphery of transformation, passively anticipating some outside agency to introduce a golden epoch, for a vessel to transport you toward some prophesied destination. You represent the leading edge, the living, breathing embodiment of this emerging reality. You are the actual essence of what's coming, taking physical shape, delivering the elevated vibrations and awakened awareness that will characterize the approaching age. Envision yourself as a brilliant beacon, not simply receiving the dawn's light, but actively creating the dawn itself, projecting its revolutionary, prismatic illumination across the expansive, flowing shores of human consciousness, penetrating the thickest veils of confusion. Your actual existence, your awakened condition, serves as a catalyst, a living prophecy made manifest, a vibrational resonance that quietly yet powerfully transforms everything within its field. You are an energetic foundation, a stabilizing point for the celestial forces that are currently flooding the earthly dimension. Accept this reality with complete conviction. The emerging era doesn't manifest as some far-off occurrence. It emerges through you. It becomes real within you, and it demonstrates its magnificence as you navigate this world. Every movement, a deliberate act of manifestation. Every inhalation, a sacred gesture for planetary balance. You are the living expression of the transformation, the embodied frequency of the emerging dawn, the actual essence of the awakened tomorrow present in this instant. While countless souls throughout this world are starting to distantly recognize the faint echoes of this cosmic summons, a deep internal stirring suggesting a purpose far more expansive than they've been shown. Unfortunately, only a select few hold the bravery and precision to genuinely pursue the complex coordinates. This isn't a path for those seeking comfort, but for those whose spiritual navigation points unwaveringly toward profound realities, for those who experience the irresistible attraction of genuine remembrance. If your consciousness, right in this moment, vibrates with an undeniable resonant, deeper recognition, an understanding that surpasses rational thought and communicates directly to your cellular information, to the primordial wisdom embedded in your actual structure, then understand that you're receiving a unique and potent invitation. The concealed Arcturian keys of awakening isn't simply a text or a compilation of mental frameworks. It represents an energetic broadcast, a living resonance, a sacred vault that discloses profound wisdom maintained in complete silence, protected with celestial dedication for millennia. These aren't mere symbols on paper. They are living resonances, precisely encoded understanding created specifically for restoring the most profound ancestral fractures, enabling exceptional spiritual acceleration, and directing you toward deliberate rapid ascension into your greatest capacity. This information, emerging from among the most compassionate and sophisticated civilizations in our galaxy, functions as a vibrational calibration device, realigning your complete energetic architecture with your genuine starseed design, re-establishing coherence to your multidimensional nature. The portal to this revolutionary wisdom, this timeless yet contemporary guide, awaits your discovery. The link resides patiently in the opening comment beneath this video. But grasp the immediacy. Like a transient cosmic configuration, this invitation won't stay accessible indefinitely. The universe delivers these opportunities when the seeker has truly prepared, and their presence attunes to the continuously shifting quantum streams. Don't allow this sacred offering to become another whisper dissolved by the currents of time. Claim the moment of activation calling your essence. The path of deep reawakening initiates with a crucial first step, identifying the distortion and recovering your clarity. The energetic disruptions you've encountered, the persistent yet elusive spiritual heaviness, the unexplainable depletion or mental cloudiness, don't originate from within you. These aren't fundamental imperfections in your remarkable design, nor do they indicate spiritual inadequacy, but rather represent the collective accumulation of Earth's established old heaviness, a substantial energetic pollution gathered over ages of human conflict, anxiety, criticism, and separation. Picture it as environmental static, an ongoing radio interference that has clouded the crystalline precision of your internal guidance, a thick veil suppressing the clear broadcast of your higher consciousness. Simply developing sharp awareness of the source of these dynamics, grasping that they represent external overlays rather than core components of your nature, constitutes the deep first step of sovereignty. This doesn't involve combating them, entering conflict, or resisting them, but rather recognizing them as foreign, as external information streams, not your essential truth. Start to carefully observe the quiet, invasive thoughts attempting to maintain you trapped within a compressed, restricted expression of yourself. Thoughts of insufficiency, questioning, undeservedness, or the anxiety of visibility. Direct close focus to the emotional patterns that move through your energy system, activating recognizable experiences of guilt, deep defeat, mysterious sorrow, or even abrupt surges of frustration that feel inconsistent with your nature. These don't represent ultimate realities. They're simply expressions of that interference, the energetic turbulence of a world striving to awaken, the remaining fragments of outdated frameworks. The transformative capacity exists in observing their manifestation, watching them with a neutral, caring awareness, similar to watching weather patterns drift past without participating, identifying, or connecting to their temporary presence. Through this practice of conscious witnessing, you begin the profound journey of starting to purify your energetic system, of clearing away the accumulation. Visualize this journey vividly. You're calibrating your internal spiritual transmission. Similar to a skilled radio technician, carefully manipulating the controls to eliminate all distortion, focusing on the most transparent frequency, you're exactly adjusting your energetic resonances, enabling you to perceive the clear, powerful, unmistakable communication of your higher consciousness, your expanded self, beyond the distracting chaos and commotion of the collective turbulence. A clean tone piercing through confusion. This transcends mental practice. It's a vibrational realignment, a practice of sovereign recovery of your internal territory, a sacred establishment of energetic parameters that confirm your authentic, unblemished essence. The second step welcomes you to assimilate the quantum wave through intentional breathing. Understand that a quantum wave represents far more than a gentle, soft, energetic transition. It literally constitutes an overwhelming flood of pure, elevated frequency illumination, a pouring deluge of divine force that saturates every cell of your existence, from the base of your feet to the apex of your skull, energizing your complete molecular composition. This massive inflow is carefully recalibrating your total energy system, from your broad auric envelope to your detailed chakra network, rotating and purifying each energy portal, and concurrently restructuring the most profound dimensions of your subconscious territory, elevating concealed dynamics and convictions to the surface for liberation. The power of this journey may occasionally feel intense, like positioning yourself in the trajectory of a thundering cosmic current, its forces mighty and absolute. Yet this exact intensity doesn't represent punishment. It constitutes a sacred passage, an essential power to accelerate you into your subsequent evolutionary expression. Within its mighty flows, outdated, obsolete timelines consisting of profoundly embedded convictions, historical selections, exhausted personas, and karmic recordings that no longer support your supreme advancement are being dissolved with rapid, conclusive, energetic authority, transforming into the emptiness from which they originated. Now, what we're exploring today barely scratches the surface of how these frequency transmissions actually operate within your consciousness field. While this activation is real and happening now, understanding the complete architecture of how you shift from unconscious transmission to becoming the conscious broadcast itself, that's a deeper journey. In Beyond the Frequencies, a quantum guide to consciousness mastery, I walk you through the 9 master frequencies that transform you from seeking alignment to being alignment, from trying to manifest to embodying the magnetic field that draws reality towards you effortlessly. It's linked in the pinned comment below. These dissolving timelines are generating room, preparing the foundation for the appearance of your authentic, ascended nature. Like a wildfire purifying the undergrowth for fresh vitality to emerge. Throughout these intervals of intense realignment, the most effective instrument available to you is your breathing, your vital force. Deliberately and fully breathe through the apparent intensity, permitting each full inhalation to welcome fresh cleansing illumination and each releasing exhalation to discharge what's being released, returning it to the cosmos for transformation. Your complex energy networks are carefully functioning, like a cosmic serpent releasing its covering, letting go and shedding these outdated realities, these former layers of self-constriction. This shedding constitutes an essential readiness for the acceptance and stabilization of elevated, more refined broadcasts from your galactic origins and your personal higher consciousness, readying your container for extraordinary light. Rather than resisting the current, deliberately embrace this monumental transition. Welcome the intensity as evidence of deep transformation, an indication that your ascension is quickly intensifying. Any opposition to this organic, divinely choreographed journey will merely extend the challenge, like attempting to swim against an irresistible force, depleting yourself against the certain. Release into the movement, recognizing that this mighty wave is carefully directing you toward your authentic capacity, deconstructing everything that blocks your radiant cosmic appearance. The third step involves awakening your primordial information through soul harmonic. This surpasses simple mental recall. It represents a deep, visceral cellular reactivation, a spiritual rebirth that stimulates the dormant radiance within every particle of your physical and energetic form, like dawn illuminating ancient inscriptions, animating them. The respected Galactic Council, through their deep comprehension of cosmic development, identifies this critical journey as the ignition of dormant wisdom archives positioned deep within your actual DNA. Sacred collections of galactic understanding, cosmic recall, and multidimensional capacities extending across innumerable star networks and ages. These represent the legendary Arcturian keys, carefully integrated into the actual foundation of your star seed design, anticipating the ideal vibrational synchronization, the exact cosmic resonance to emerge with vibrant force. These primordial codes don't activate through intellectual striving or aggressive intention. They respond exclusively, beautifully, through harmonic. Your function is to transform into a precisely calibrated instrument, a receptive antenna, remarkably responsive to the quiet currents of your consciousness, to the gentle promptings of your most profound truth. Begin to develop an intense awareness and profoundly listen to the soft yet persistent impulse directing you toward fresh wisdom, unexplored practices, or stimulating creative articulations. Pause here and share in the comments. What's one ancient truth or practice you felt inexplicably drawn to recently, even if you couldn't explain why? Notice the quiet attraction in your heart, the mysterious captivation, the deep feeling of correctness that follows specific directions, specific associations, specific meaningful coincidences. Pursue what naturally attracts your energy skyward, what raises your spirit and sparks a flame of identification deep inside. A sensation of, "I recognize this," or "this is origin." This could appear as a compulsion to investigate ancient wisdom, to engage a particular meditation approach that feels profoundly resonant, to participate in energy work, or to articulate yourself through art, sound, or language in approaches you've never explored previously, as if a barrier has dissolved within your creative source. When you deliberately grant yourself the complete authorization to be transformed at the absolute center of your consciousness, to release into this internal direction without inquiry or delay, without the disruption of ego-based uncertainty, you're directly beginning the mighty broadcast and activation of these primordial existence-altering codes. You transform into the living pathway, the awakened container for this celestial inheritance to circulate freely, converting you from within, synchronizing you with the magnificent cosmic pattern of your nature. The fourth step welcomes you to reconnect with your internal star chart and galactic orientation. As your primordial codes steadily activate and assimilate, as the dormant wisdom collections within your DNA spark and then blaze into complete brightness, you'll start to encounter an exceptional awakening of your multidimensional orientation system. A radiant, complex internal star chart that has perpetually existed within you. A celestial direction finder awaiting activation. This doesn't represent a theoretical framework, a simple symbolic expression. It constitutes a living, dynamic interface linking you closely to your simultaneous and elevated dimensional expressions, to the immense pattern of your soul collective across the universe, and to the ancient higher assemblies who supervise your planetary assignment, your cosmic mentors. To reach this deep internal guidance, network, develop practices that encourage profound internal quietude. Participate in concentrated meditation. Undertake deliberate spiritual expeditions, whether facilitated or independent, through mental imagery or consciousness practices, or simply allocate time to peacefully remaining in aware presence, permitting your internal terrain to reveal without criticism or anticipation, witnessing the quiet transformations. As you proceed, carefully notice the quiet yet potent recollections that emerge from the depths of your consciousness. Recollections that may register both timeless and powerfully personal, frequently joined by a profound emotional intensity of familiarity or identification. Watch the impressions that appear behind your closed eyes or brighten your mental vision, frequently filled with a quality of deep meaning and familiarity, like recalling a lost memory. Direct focus to the surprising resonant attractions you experience to specific star networks: Sirius, Pleiades, Arcturus, Lyra, galactic consciousnesses, or even patterns and sacred geometries that manifest spontaneously in your field. This extends far beyond simple imagination or passive fantasy. It represents a powerful modality of vibrational remembrance, a direct channel of data from your greater cosmic consciousness. It indicates your conscious awareness synchronizing across the immense span of your different timelines, both historical and upcoming, and concurrently accepting precious enhancements, energetic transmissions, and direct understanding from your broad galactic origins, who are carefully directing your path. These broadcasts are engineered to navigate you, to remind you of your authentic calling, to disclose the wider cosmic framework of your reality, and to empower you with the cosmic wisdom required to accomplish your destiny on Earth. Trust these internal transmissions as sacred communications from your expanded consciousness, messages from your soul's perpetual knowing. The fifth step represents the integration of the new frequencies as a living resonance. This essential step embodies the complete synthesis of all former activations, the physical expression of your internal transformation. It's vital to grasp that your sacred assignment here doesn't involve escaping the heaviness of Earth, to surpass its difficulties by departing it for elevated planes. Rather, your deep calling is to dynamically engage in its evolution, to balance this cherished world, its inhabitants, and its actual energetic matrix with the elevated, refined frequencies of the galactic spectrum, to elevate it from its core. You're here to connect worlds, to become a living, breathing pathway for cosmic harmony, a vibrational envoy. Every single instance you select to move, communicate, or manifest from a position of expanded conscious synchronization, from the understanding of your activated information and the precise direction of your internal star chart. Your distinct frequency transmits outward like an energetic signal, a mighty ripple pattern expanding into the collective. You surpass the function of a disconnected receiver and transform into a mighty living broadcaster, dynamically recalibrating the collective energy system wherever your presence exists. Picture yourself as a vibrational instrument, resonating with divine harmony, establishing everything surrounding you into an elevated resonance simply by existing in your genuine awakened condition. The deep spiritual practice now exists in cultivating the stabilization of this raised state of existence. Not exclusively during isolated meditation or concentrated spiritual work, but steadily even within the most ordinary, mundane instances of your regular life. Whether you're moving through a busy environment, participating in dialogue, creating nourishment, or simply resting in peaceful reflection. Deliberately return your awareness back to your activated condition. Experience the spaciousness within, the gentle resonance of your divine nature, the fresh frequencies. These celestial harmonies of elevated awareness genuinely come alive and acquire their transformative capacity only when you steadily move, communicate, contemplate, and manifest as the completely enhanced, synthesized, and integrated expression of yourself. This is the method you construct the structure of the emerging Earth into manifestation, one deliberately synchronized instant at a time, transforming into the shift you desire to witness, literally resonating it into form, designing the tomorrow through your actual existence. The sixth step involves trusting the quickening and releasing to quantum movement. As you persist in assimilating these deep, energetic transformations, as your consciousness becomes progressively synchronized to elevated dimensional frequencies, you'll certainly observe a unique and frequently disorienting shift in your experience of chronology. Sequential time, as you've understood it, will start to register progressively malleable, even unusual, bending and expanding in approaches that contradict linear reasoning. Certain instances, saturated with profound meaning and powerful experience, will expand endlessly, presenting immense territories for discovery and development, for deep contemplation, as if existence is suspending its movement exclusively for you, enabling you to integrate every element. Alternatively, other intervals saturated with swift developments and abrupt expressions will compress with remarkable velocity, manifesting possibilities, synchronistic meetings, and fortunate alignments in a succession of intensified occurrences, as if chronology itself has condensed. This doesn't represent a malfunction of your awareness. It constitutes the organic result of transcending linear third-dimensional frameworks and functioning within a genuinely multidimensional actuality. Within this quantum intensification, the most freeing practice you can embrace is to deliberately release the compulsion to manipulate or impose results. Abandon the fantasy that you must carefully organize every movement of an inflexible, foreseeable trajectory, for that structure is dissolving. The quantum trajectory of your development is fundamentally non-linear. It represents an organic, dynamic revelation that dynamically bends and reconstructs actuality itself around the clarity and power of your internal synchronization. Similar to liquid moving around barriers, what you've been carefully anticipating, the visions and aspirations you've maintained in your awareness across eternities, are now no longer distant objectives. They're advancing to encounter you with unmistakable force. Not through outside striving, but because your actual consciousness, your broadened energetic presence, is transmitting the unmistakable authorization for these preferred actualities to materialize and appear in your reality. You're no longer pursuing, you're drawing, pulling, attracting to you everything that synchronizes with your supreme frequency. Trust this refined, wise movement. Trust the cosmos's flawless orchestration, understanding that every instant is exactly coordinated. Trust that the invisible powers are functioning in absolute harmony with your awakened nature, choreographing a symphony of expression that greatly exceeds any linear anticipation, disclosing wonders you couldn't have even conceived. The seventh and concluding step involves reunifying with the assembly within and transforming into the living connection. This culminating step in your initial awakening perhaps represents the most deep understanding, the supreme truth disclosed. You're not simply accepting direction from outside entities, from remote assemblies or intangible consciousnesses, but you're dynamically transforming into the living conscious connection between the immense compassionate galactic assembly and the awakening physical dimension. Your distinct energy pattern, your awakened awareness, functions as a direct pathway for elevated understanding, a transparent channel for cosmic wisdom. This indicates that your precisely calibrated intuition, which communicates through whispers and quiet sensations, is no longer simply a visceral sense. It represents a transparent, direct broadcast, a communication from your broadened consciousness. Your surges of innovation, whether through artistic articulation, creative problem resolution, or revolutionary contemplation, aren't random inspirations, but transmitted insights from elevated planes, from the collective awareness of sophisticated civilizations. Every abrupt, unmistakable internal recognition, every spark of precision that penetrates through confusion represents a customized transmission, a direct dialogue from your broadened consciousness and your galactic mentors, calibrated exactly for your distinct path. What many starseeds fail to recognize is that this internal council isn't a singular voice or a monolithic guidance system. It's a living, dynamic collective of your higher dimensional aspects, each contributing their unique perspective and wisdom. Think of it as a round table of your own consciousness, where every seat is occupied by a version of you that has already walked a particular path, already mastered a specific frequency, already embodied a certain truth. When you tune into this council, you're not reaching outward for external validation or seeking permission from distant authorities. You're gathering the fragmented aspects of your own multidimensional awareness into a coherent, unified field of knowing. This is where the true power of your awakening becomes tangible. You begin to realize that every moment of uncertainty you've experienced, every instance where you felt lost or disconnected, was simply a moment where you hadn't yet consulted the full spectrum of your own wisdom. The answers you've been seeking outside yourself, in books, teachers, gurus, or cosmic messages, have always resided within the vast library of your own consciousness. The Galactic Council doesn't operate separately from you. You are a living extension of that council, a holographic representation of its collective intelligence, embodied in physical form for this specific mission on Earth. As you deepen this relationship with your internal guidance, something remarkable begins to occur. The boundary between your individual awareness and the cosmic collective starts to dissolve, not in a way that erases your unique identity, but in a way that expands it beyond the limitations of singular perspective. You start to perceive reality through multiple lenses simultaneously, seeing situations from your human vantage point, while also understanding them from the elevated perspective of your higher self, your soul family, and the greater galactic intelligence that orchestrates planetary evolution. This multidimensional perception fundamentally transforms how you navigate challenges, make decisions, and co-create your reality. Where you once might have felt paralyzed by choice or overwhelmed by complexity, you now access a clarity that transcends linear problem-solving. You begin to see the threads of synchronicity woven through seemingly random events. You recognize the intelligence operating behind apparent obstacles, understanding that every resistance carries within it a redirection towards something more aligned with your highest trajectory. The practical application of this internal council connection manifests in your daily life in powerful ways. When faced with a decision, rather than endlessly analyzing pros and cons through your mental faculties alone, you learn to drop into your heart space, pose the question to your inner counsel, and receive guidance that arrives as a felt sense, a sudden knowing, or a visual impression that carries more information than words could convey. This isn't passive reception, it's active co-creation. You're not being told what to do by some external authority. You're accessing the combined wisdom of all your experiences across timelines, dimensions, and incarnations, synthesizing that into actionable insight for your current moment. Many starseeds experience this activation of their internal counsel as a sudden remembrance of skills, knowledge, or capacities they never formally learned in this lifetime. You might find yourself spontaneously understanding complex energy dynamics, intuitively knowing how to navigate challenging interpersonal situations with unusual grace, or receiving creative downloads that feel like they're coming from a source beyond your conscious mind. This isn't channeling in the traditional sense, where you step aside and allow another entity to speak through you. This is integration, where you're expanding your sense of self to include all the wisdom that has always been yours, simply waiting for your conscious awareness to catch up with what your soul has always known. The relationship between you and your internal counsel deepens through practice and trust. Each time you honor a subtle, intuitive nudge and witness the perfection of how it unfolds, you strengthen the neural pathways and energetic channels that allow this communication to flow more freely. Each time you act on inner guidance, even when it contradicts external logic, and you see the miraculous ways reality reorganizes itself to support your aligned action, you build an unshakable faith in your own cosmic intelligence. This isn't blind faith, it's experiential gnosis, direct knowing gained through lived experience of your multidimensional nature. To fully embrace this function, you must deliberately and steadily consult your internal assembly. This doesn't involve summoning spirits or pursuing outside confirmation. It's regarding synchronizing to the deep understanding contained within your personal existence, acknowledging the divine manifestation that exists within your sacred heart territory. When you accept a quiet prompt, and mysterious compulsion, or a transparent instruction from within, respect it as sacred direction, as a divine instruction. Respond upon it with absolute trust, even if rational reasoning initially objects, understanding that your internal understanding contains a considerably greater reality. When you perceive a manifestation, a soft, energetic transformation, a sensation of being encircled by compassionate wisdom, or encounter a sudden unified transmission of data, welcome yourself completely to accept it without the destructive impact of uncertainty or questioning, for these represent sacred offerings. Understand with complete certainty that this direction is perpetually, flawlessly encoded for your supreme path, engineered to accelerate you along the most balanced and mighty trajectory for your consciousness's development and for the advantage of all. You represent a sovereign container, a living channel, and the understanding of the universe circulates through you, anticipating your conscious identification and integration. And now, as the separations thin and the quantum currents intensify, as the former frameworks dissolve and the fresh illumination blazes forward, we reach the deep, forgotten reality that the actual convergence of these former timelines is engineered to disclose. A reality inscribed into the perpetual structure of your existence. You were never, not for a solitary instant, genuinely misaligned. The complex, frequently demanding trajectory you've navigated, with its curves, rotations, and instances of challenge, wasn't a deviation, but a carefully orchestrated course, a sacred expedition. You didn't neglect to recall your cosmic source or desert your assignment. Instead, you selected with a gesture of elevated divine excellence and exceptional bravery to postpone your complete reawakening until this exact quantum instant, this critical moment of cosmic alignment, when Earth's energy matrix was ultimately prepared to hold your complete illumination. This postponement wasn't a regression, not a cosmic discipline, but a tactical masterwork, a gesture of supreme understanding to guarantee your protection and the accomplishment of your assignment. Your profound pain, the mysterious sorrow, the widespread sensation of existential isolation you may have transported for eternities was never a discipline, never an indication of being damaged. It represented in reality a carefully assembled frequency protective layer, a defensive energetic covering constructed around your receptive soul nature, enabling you to not simply endure, but even flourish within the powerful, frequently severe heaviness of the earthly dimension. protecting your refined frequencies from overwhelming outside disturbance. What you repeatedly understood as irritating confusion, profound separation, or spiritual immobility was in its supreme expression a gesture of supreme cosmic wisdom. It represented a refined containment dynamic, a conscious suspension carefully inscribed into the actual design of your assignment, like a potential awaiting the ideal circumstances to activate. This suspension guaranteed that your refined and mighty codes would awaken exclusively when Earth's developing frequency and the approaching galactic frequencies ultimately aligned in absolute balanced resonance, establishing the perfect crucible for your appearance. There's another dimension to this divine timing that deserves recognition. During this period of apparent dormancy, your consciousness was actively engaged in deep preparation work that occurred beyond the reach of your waking awareness. While you felt stuck, confused, or spiritually stagnant, your soul was actually downloading massive quantities of information, recalibrating your energy body and establishing the foundational templates that would support your full activation. This is similar to how a seed underground appears to be doing nothing, yet is actually developing an intricate root system that will eventually support the magnificent plant that breaks through the surface. Every relationship that challenged you was preparing your heart to hold greater love. Every job that felt unfulfilling was teaching you to distinguish between societal definitions of success and soul-aligned purpose. Every moment of loneliness was actually sacred solitude, creating the spaciousness necessary for you to hear the whispers of your higher guidance without the interference of collective noise. Every financial struggle was dissolving your attachment to security rooted in external systems, preparing you to trust the abundance that flows naturally when you align with your true frequency. Every health challenge was purging old energetic imprints and recalibrating your physical vessel to hold higher light frequencies. Nothing was wasted, not a single tear, not one moment of doubt, not any experience of pain or confusion. Each of these was a precisely calibrated initiation, designed to strip away the false layers, to dissolve the conditioning, to crack open the protective shells you'd built around your heart, and to prepare you for the magnitude of light you're now being asked to embody. The initiations you've moved through weren't random hardships or cosmic punishments. They were the necessary forging of your consciousness in the fires of transformation. What's occurring now, in this quantum moment of collective awakening, is that all those years of preparation are suddenly crystallizing into conscious realization. The pieces that seemed fragmented are revealing themselves as parts of a coherent whole. The experiences that appeared random are showing their purposeful arrangement. The pain that felt meaningless is demonstrating its transformative power. You're not just recovering from those difficult years. You're harvesting their wisdom, integrating their lessons, and discovering that what seemed like obstacles were actually the very experiences that shaped you into the precise instrument needed for this moment in planetary evolution. This is why comparison with other star seeds or spiritual seekers becomes not only pointless, but actually detrimental to your process. Your specific path, with its unique timing, challenges, and revelations, has been perfectly calibrated for your particular mission. The exact sequence of your awakening, including all the delays and accelerations, has positioned you to serve in ways that someone with a different trajectory simply couldn't. Your struggles have given you specific medicine to offer. Your victories have activated specific frequencies. Your questions have opened specific portals. Every aspect of your journey has been preparing you to anchor a unique frequency signature that the planetary grid needs precisely now. Understanding this removes the burden of regret. There's nothing to apologize for, nothing to make up for, no time that was lost or wasted. You haven't fallen behind some cosmic schedule or missed important opportunities. You've been right on time for every single moment, moving through a perfectly orchestrated sequence of experiences designed to prepare you for this very activation you're experiencing now. The universe doesn't make mistakes with timing. Every delay served a purpose. Every acceleration had its reason. Every cycle of expansion and contraction was breathing you closer to this moment of full embodiment. Comment below. What old pattern or belief are you finally ready to release after hearing this? You're not delayed to this awakening. You're exactly aligned, divinely arranged for this actual instant. You're not damaged, nor were you ever. You're not displaced. You're deeply discovered. You've been continuously harmonizing, carefully protected within this sacred anticipation interval until this actual wave of cosmic integration, a current of illumination, transporting you origin to yourself. Every difficulty, every uncertainty, every instant of longing, every movement taken up to this quantum now has represented the required essential preparation for your magnificent, triumphant restoration to your complete multidimensional consciousness. The complete galactic assembly, a collection of the supreme light consciousnesses from throughout the universe, remains in collective observation, their awareness saturated with deep respect and recognition for your appearance, for the bravery of your path. You're not simply a contributor in this emerging reality. You represent the living pattern of an emerging tomorrow. Completely stabilized, mightily integrated, and unmistakably magnificently manifesting. The symphony of manifestation anticipates your distinct resonance, prepared for you to express your contribution. Tonight, as the sacred shadows of evening softly arrive, before you release to the restorative embrace of rest, accept a moment of deep intention. Discover a peaceful territory within your awareness. Breathe profoundly, enabling your consciousness to stabilize into the center of your existence. And with absolute certainty, articulate this mighty recognition aloud, or communicate it silently into the universe, into the actual structure of manifestation. I recall who I am. I resynchronize with my star source, with the timeless constellations that originated my consciousness, with the cosmic design of my authentic nature. I awaken my soul assignment with absolute precision, with deep manifestation, and with complete trust in the divine revelation, in the understanding of the cosmos. Enable these expressions not simply to represent sounds, but to transform into living, dynamic frequencies, echoing through every cell of your existence, pulsating with timeless power. Experience their fundamental power, their revolutionary force. Enable them to reorganize your energetic system, systematically deconstructing any persisting fantasies of isolation or uncertainty, any fragments of the former structure. Visualize them as instruments rotating in cosmic mechanisms, releasing gateways within your awareness. Enable these sacred declarations, articulated from the center of your reality, to transform into the actual gateway, an accessible threshold through which your broadened awareness can smoothly travel, assimilating the day's activations, accepting deeper revelations, and readying you for even deeper cosmic transmissions and realignments as you regenerate. This represents a gesture of sovereign self-affirmation, a potent potential established in the productive foundation of your subconscious, prepared to develop into your most complete, most magnificent expression. your divine capacity emerging. If this transmission is working on you at cellular levels, consider returning to it each morning for the next 7 days. Each listen will activate deeper layers as your consciousness continues expanding. And when you share this with someone who's ready, you're not just passing along information. You're creating an energetic cascade that accelerates both your awakening and theirs, multiplying the frequency field we're collectively building. Before you continue, accept a moment to participate in what's establishing here. Share one intention in the comments, something authentic. Then acknowledge someone else's with support or resonance. This transcends content. It's collective synchronization. Force multiplies when intention aligns. If something in this transmission resonated, don't contain it to yourself. Someone in your field is anticipating this exact activation. Distribute it. And if you experienced a soul recognition, subscribe. Remain in the current. You're not simply observing, you're broadening. This represents your territory, and we're only initiating. If this broadcast communicated to you, don't simply depart from it. Acknowledge it. Assist transmit this communication further. Contribute a super thanks. Every gesture of contribution assists this broadcast discover the subsequent starseed who requires it. Now, what you've just experienced is the activation phase, but there's a crucial next step most starseeds miss. The Arcturians aren't just observing your field from a distance anymore. They're actively scanning your energetic signature right now, determining your readiness for direct contact and mission assignment. In the transmission, you've been detected by the Arcturians. Your field is now being scanned. You'll discover exactly what they're looking for in your frequency, why certain starseeds are being flagged for accelerated activation, and the specific markers in your consciousness that signal you're ready for the next level of cosmic communication.